Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. Am I audible? Excellent. Thumbs up. A pleasant good afternoon to our dignitaries, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Welcome to Sunrise Toastmasters Pathways Basecamp Workshop. So excited. This is a topic that I'm passionate about. Our meeting is being recorded. We have our moderator and we have our presiding officer. Just a few housekeeping notes before we begin. If you have any questions, if you're unable to unmute at any time, please share those questions in the chat for our moderator for the Q&A session. And I am going to, of course, rely on our moderator and our presiding officer to be my eyes and ears as we share screen and we do a deep dive, real life, on the spot, hands-on the new base camp, or rather our new Pathways Basecamp that was recently rolled out in October. Now, before I begin, do we have any participants on the call who is presently not Pathways enrolled? Or you have members who are not Pathways enrolled, and if either one of those scenarios apply to you, just use your raise hand feature, or Kalpana, if you can state in the chat, do we have persons who are not Pathways enrolled? Okay, so I see, is it Kalia has her hand raised, not Pathways enrolled, so that means you're in Toastmasters and you have never navigated this platform. All right, how many persons do we have, Kalpana? Is it just Kalia?
Just Kalia at the moment.
Okay, all right. So we're going to start just for you, Kalia, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. We're going to do a quick review of how you select your path. Before we get into that, one of the reasons why this particular topic is so important is because the Pathways Basecamp is the only education-based platform in Toastmasters International. That means that anytime you're having meetings with your clubs, those meetings and the speeches, the functionaries, etc., that flow during the course of that meeting, they're all based on the Pathways Foundation. And for District 47, this is critical because we want to ensure that our members are not just giving speeches, that we are giving speeches, we're delivering those speeches, and we're completing those projects with purpose, that we actually see a clear line of progress and why we've joined this program. Now, how many persons in here love to fly and take vacation? I know I do. We see some raised hands, definitely. How many persons on this call would say that you would buy a plane ticket and just sit on that plane ticket and not travel? How many persons think that that's a logical course of action, to spend money on a plane ticket and just sit on it and don't travel? Well, that's essentially what signing up for Toastmasters and not enrolling in Pathways is the equivalent of. Buying a ticket or enrolling in this amazing platform, but not making any steps towards engaging in the learning platform. So we're going to do a quick review in terms of how you select your education platform in Pathways. Now, as you can see, I've already logged in to my screen. And so if you're a member of Toastmasters, everyone's screen looks exactly like this. This is your welcome page, your home page. To select a path, you're going to use the second option, Education Programs. So you're going to scroll down just a little bit, and right under Education Programs, you see that you have 4 options. The option that we're focusing on today is Pathways. Now you have the option in Pathways where you can have overviews, you can take a look at the options available to you, sample your first project. You have all of those options available to you. Now, if you want to just dive right in and say, I'm ready to select my education platform, you just scroll right down to the bottom and you look at the hyperlink that says choose a path. And since we're on the new platform, we now have 6 engaging options that are available. Now, if you want to do that, you simply select your language. And so for ease, we're going to use English. And you have 2 options that are available to you. And these are for our new members or members who are not enrolled. You can look at all of your pathway options, or you can take an assessment. That assessment is simply a questionnaire that asks you about your personal goals in the program. What is it that you joined Toastmasters for? Your why for being a member of this amazing organization. And based on the information that you provide, Toastmasters International provides recommendations, the top 3 recommended paths based on the information that you shared. Now, for the interest of time, we're going to just view all of our path options. So we're going to click this button and click continue. You see available the 6 paths that are now in use since the transition. And you will note that even before the transition, presentation mastery was always that recommended path, because that is the path that primarily focuses on being comfortable as a public speaker. And that's one of the main tenets of Toastmasters, along with leadership, being able to present yourself comfortably before any audience. So you will find that presentation mastery is always recommended, and it is the most popular education platform in Toastmasters. So don't feel like you're taking the easy way out if you select presentation mastery. That was my first path, and I actually love it and would consider doing that path for a second time. You also have dynamic leadership, engaging humor, motivational strategies, persuasive influence, and visionary communication. And at any time, if you want to have a little overview in terms of what the paths entail, you can always click on the Learn More. So you can click Learn More for any of the paths just to see for yourself or get a sneak peek in terms of what you are in store, what's in store for you as a member when you select an education path. And I want to say that selecting an education path in Toastmasters, I personally believe that it's mandatory. Okay? You don't want to say, I'm just going to come, I'm going to come to meetings, I'm always going to be in listen mode, or I'm going to watch other people present and grow. And I just don't want to be involved in the platform. So as a new member, this is actually one of the first activities that you should do in collaboration with your Vice President Education. Select your path. Then when you select your path, you get into the really good stuff in terms of education in Toastmasters. All right, and again, feel free to submit any questions in the chat or wait until the Q&A. Now that we've gotten into selecting a path, we're going to go back to my home, and we're going to go to the first link under My Education and Achievements, which is entitled Go to Basecamp. Now, Basecamp, again, has had a total facelift. We know before it was gray and navy and kind of dull, right? Now with this new platform, you have colors, you have some great options that are available to you. And before we get into the more advanced portions of this system, we're going to go to the part that is most common for the member, and that is your actual learning platform. Presently, I'm in team collaboration, which is one of the paths that's already been done away with. However, I selected this path before the transition, and so Toastmasters has given me the option to continue and to complete this path. And so for each of your members or for yourself, this particular badge will look different. Now, under the new system, and you'll see for me, my level 4 just got completed, but I'm 82%. So if you look at the left-hand side, you're going to actually see your progress as a member, which is great. It really gives you a sense of accomplishment, and you can visually have a visual appreciation of how far you've come in your public speaking journey in Toastmasters. Now, for me, I'm just going to go to the overview. And what I love about this, it also gives you the option to pick up where you left off, which is something that's a bit new with this platform. Now, as you're navigating your platform, you will see your different levels, 1 through 5. And you actually get an overview of all of the projects that you've completed for each level. So for me, you will see that my level 1 is completed. I can use my drop down, my level 2 is completed. My level 3 is completed, and in addition to my level 4. Now, I also have the option to look at my unfinished level, which is level 5. Taking a look at this platform, we can see that I have one more speech to give to complete my level 5, and that's lead in any situation. So essentially, as you're going through this as a member or as you're supporting your members in the Pathways platform, you always want to allow them to take a look at their current path, take a look at their projects, and also take a look at what is needed for them to continue to progress in the Pathways platform. So for me, I know that once I complete lead in any situation, then I am eligible to have this level 5 completion open for me and to have a member of my club, a Basecamp manager, approve this particular platform. All right. Now, before I get into completion of levels and some of the more advanced items, I really want to highlight what is required for each level. Now, for level 1, that's the foundation, which means that we don't have an option to select which projects that we want to do. We are mandated to do every single activity in level 1. The same for level 2. The only difference between level 1 and level 2 is that the total number of projects are different. Level 1 is always that heaviest level where the majority of your work is populated. Level 2, you have 3 projects or 3 speeches to complete. And when you pass that level 2, you now get into options or what we call electives. And I'm going to open up the electives tab so that you guys can see how great these electives look with the new interface. It looks very dynamic, very engaging. And so it allows you an opportunity to select the projects that you want to complete to further your journey in Pathways. And what I love, it actually lets you know at the top how many electives you need to complete to move past your level 3. That has always been a common question whenever I've done these trainings. How many electives do I need to complete? And we've had members who've completed every elective in a level simply because they just were not aware. With this new interface, it's very clear. Choose at least 2 projects required for this level. Select your elective from the project menu. So you'll see here that I've had these 2 that I've completed: inspire your audience and make connections through networking. As you progress in the program, we're going to go back to overview. Your total number of electives will change. So level 5, your total number of electives will change because the projects actually become more complex. So I'm going to show you level 4, and you'll see here that for level 4, the requirement is different. You can choose at least 1 project as required for this level. Select your elective and access it from your project menu. All right, so for me, I utilize the question and answer session, and that's actually the project that I'm doing today for my new path. So you have one elective when you get into level 4 and to level 5. So again, the total number of projects begin to decrease, but the complexity of those projects, they get a bit harder. And as with any sequential or foundation building, that first level, it may be a lot, but the projects don't call for as much. And as you move up the ladder, we begin to experience different degrees of competency and difficulty in your path. Once you've completed all of your required projects, because for every level, you have a project that you must do, that you absolutely cannot escape. And then, of course, you have your electives. Same for level 5. You have one required and one elective. So for me, my elective has already been completed, which is prepare to speak professionally. Once you've completed all of the levels 1 through 5, then you have this really exciting tool open up for you, and that's called path completion or reflect on your path. And that's an opportunity for Toastmasters, for members to share with their clubs, with their audience, what they've learned after completing approximately 14 to 15 speeches within a particular path. And it's a longer speech again, because at this point now you're demonstrating competency. You are demonstrating fluency, and you're really showing that you're comfortable with utilizing the platform and delivering speeches at your club. I absolutely love this, and I'm excited to complete my 7th education path in this program. I'm catching up to Dr. Susan soon with the education platforms in the club. All right. So this is essentially what the platform looks like from the view of the member. All right. Now we're going to go into some of the other new tools in this program that are new for our members before we transition to what it looks like for the Basecamp managers or your club officers. One of the things that I love, I'm very visual. And so what I love with this new platform as the platform is loading is how colorful and dynamic the learning badges look under this new platform. Encourage your members to look at their achievements, because it's really something to be proud of. And you have the opportunity to now share these great badges on your social media platforms. So Toastmasters is really getting with the times, right? With the social media, the badges, the colors, they're all amazing. And so for me, you can see that these are achievements that I have already done in this program and in this platform. And yes, I hear this is a lot, it's a lot, it's a lot. But trust me, it's really a compilation of proud moments in this Toastmasters platform. Encourage your members to log into their Basecamp, look at their achievements, and share their achievements on social media, because I think that's actually really cool. So now we're going to go into feedback, member feedback and evaluation feedback. And I'm going to transition to the evaluation feedback, because I think that this arguably is one of the greatest new tools in this platform. And that is the option to be green and to evaluate your members online. This is something that I've been pushing in my clubs. I'm serving as general evaluator in my home club this evening, and I'm encouraging those members to use this platform. And I'm going to give you just an idea as to how cool this function is. This really allows members to pull up their evaluation resource form online and be able to select who their evaluators are in the platform. For some reason I'm not clicking. But essentially, when you take a look at this, you're able to type in the name, the evaluator, and your speech title and the date. So I'm going to go back because I actually want to use the actual platform. So this is the digital resources right here. And we can go to, so you have the option quickly to request feedback from any member of your club. So when I use the drop-down list, I can pick any of my clubs, my active clubs. I'll use Sunrise Toastmasters. And then I have the opportunity to select one of the members from my club to provide me instant feedback. Any of the members. So once your member is on the roster, you can select any of those individuals to give you instant feedback on how you did on a speech, a presentation, etc., that happens at your club. And you also have the option for the feedback to be visible to all members or only visible to the members selected. You hit that send request, and the member who you've requested actually gets a prompt to say that you have asked them to provide feedback for your presentation. So again, these are things that you can do in real time without actually using the paper or having to print and scan and PDF and writing and scanning. It's really all meant to be a one-stop shop for your evaluations in real time. Okay, so I'm going to now go to the evaluation feedback. All right, so it actually says here for the evaluators, you can complete and send a digital evaluation form to your assigned speaker. And this can be done during your club meeting. So again, so many of us in meetings, we have our laptops open, handy. Utilize that time to actually populate the evaluation resource form in real time. Okay, so this is a note for the evaluators and a note for the speakers. You will send the digital evaluation form to your assigned evaluators, and you can do this before your club meeting. And then you can actually take a look and you can view those assignments. You can view the digital feedback form and just simply using the feedback option icon to access the form, right? So there we go. All right, so again, let's say now I know who my evaluator is. The general evaluator has already stated, or you've used the agenda to state who the evaluator is going to be for that date. You have the option to populate your speech title, select a club, select the member who's evaluating you, the speech date, and it says here, please provide feedback on my recent speech. So this is actually the speech project itself, and all of the speech projects are actually housed in this platform. So again, the only time that you will actually have to download or print a PDF version of this document is when you're speaking outside of one of your clubs, or you have an individual who is not a member of your club evaluating you. So that's really the only caveat with that. You only have access to this for your clubs where you are members, where you can actually assign those evaluation feedbacks and have the members populate that in real time. So that is something that I really want members to become accustomed to, become familiarized and comfortable with. Let's go green. Let's actually sit, listen to our prepared speakers and make notes in real time and hit send. And I've used it. Susan definitely has used it as well. We've used it on each other. And you can actually see when you have submitted a feedback or an evaluation for one of your members. And again, they get that information in real time. And all of the Pathways projects, I can click view all, you can see all of your evaluation resource forms are housed here. So you want to make sure that we're taking advantage of that particular feedback resource. And of course, we know that when we transitioned to this new system, a lot of persons asked, what's going to happen with my documents, my resources? I no longer have access to it. Well, I also want to say here that as part of your resources, you also have your project plans and those supplemental documents that are part of your projects. So when we talk about your project completion, writing a communication plan, the 360-degree evaluation, we know that for when we are leading teams, when we're having to present on speeches where we're leading teams and we're organizing projects. All of this information is available to you under the resources section of your Basecamp. And of course, your documents. So if you do have documents that you want to upload and house in this particular platform for your Basecamp, you can do that. Yes, we know that you may not have access to the forms that you had previously, but you are able, if you had saved them before the transition, you have the option to upload those documents under the My Documents tab under Resources. All right, so that's essentially a bit of an overview in terms of where we're at and how to navigate and find certain documents as a member within your platform. Now, before I transition to the Basecamp Manager, there is one aspect that I actually want to do, and that is, again, another cool feature with the new platform is how to assign education awards to your clubs. Now, for those who are pretty comfortable with the platform, you will note that when I logged into Basecamp, I no longer had to come up with the option of selecting a club under the Toastmasters International interface. This is new. And this is actually a game changer for me, because if you're in multiple clubs like I am in, you always worry, oh my goodness, did I assign it to the correct club? Did I log into the club that I wanted to give this credit to? Under this new system, we no longer have to worry about that. So let's see if it'll allow me to do a level 5 completion if I were to. Okay, so it's saying all of my projects are not completed for level 5. So let's go back to level 4 where I completed. All right, so this is my level 4 completion. My certificate probably will pop up. All right, but nevertheless, what happens in this case when you've completed all of your projects for your level? And it's now time for you to click on that level completion. You now have a drop-down menu. In that drop-down menu are your clubs where you are registered as a member. So for me, I'm a member of 3 clubs. When it's time for me to submit my awards, all I have to do is utilize the drop-down menu, and it will ask, do I want to submit to Healing Communicators? Do I want to submit to Sunrise Toastmasters? Or do I want to submit to Professional Career Speakers, which is my other club? That is something as well that is new and very innovative with this platform. And so I want to encourage our members, again, this is much more user-friendly. Make sure that you no longer have to log in and say, okay, I have to do this club, this club, this club. You have that information in a simple drop-down. Now, we're going to get into the Basecamp Managers tools, because I know we have some Basecamp managers on our platform. Let me go back to my home. All right, so as a Basecamp manager or a club officer, because all of the club officers now have this tool, you're going to click on the Basecamp Managers tool. And I just want to say that even though all club officers now have access to this information, when a member submits a request, the email is worded in such a way that it says that the VPE is still the primary approver for your club, meaning that while you may have the access to do it, you should always yield to your Vice President Education to approve. In the event the VPE is not available, continue to utilize my recommendation, those Basecamp Managers options available to you. So you'll see for me, I'm a Vice President membership in one of my clubs where Toastmaster Gadet has just submitted his request. I can do it as a VPM, but I will yield to my VPE to complete the approval in this particular matter. But you'll see that for all of your clubs, all of your members' requests will show up in the approvals dashboard. Okay? And just to say, these two are fairly the same in terms of the member overview, the paths in progress. And of course, if you want to see whether or not your members have been active in the platform, you have the opportunity to see that. So we have our good Vice President membership. She's been utilizing her motivational strategies. I've been utilizing the team collaboration. Glo has been on, Cece has been on. So it's a great tool for the Basecamp managers to track whether or not their members are using the platform. Now I can see that I am on red. That is our overview of the Basecamp platform. I will now yield to Madam Moderator for the question and answer segment.
Big clap to our Madam panelist and VPE for that great presentation of overview of the Basecamp and for the Basecamp managers to use the Basecamp. So the floor is open for any question and answers from any of the guests and members here. And you're also welcome to type in your questions in the chat box where I can pick it up from. So if you can raise your hand by emoji or by your real hand, I can pick you up. Okay, while we are waiting for people to formate their questions, can I ask our panelist, has all the projects been transferred from the previous? Why I ask this question is, I'm on the Pathways Strategic Relationship. When I did my understanding my leadership style, it didn't have that questionnaire where you can identify what your leadership thing is. Is it because it's not an active pathway?
That is a great question. Now, for me, honestly, those projects that have had those questionnaires built into the platform, I would have actually completed prior to the transition. So I cannot say definitively why those questionnaires are not populating. I believe that they should, and I can open and yield to anyone on the call who has completed either understanding your leadership or communication styles. Those are both level 2 projects, who would have completed any of those projects since the transition, and who can speak to whether or not those questionnaires about identifying those styles are still available under the platform that has been transitioned, because I believe strategic relationships is one that has since transitioned, so it's considered a legacy path.
Thank you, Madam Panelist. I saw a raise of hand by our distinguished Toastmaster, Susan Wineta.
Just wanted to quickly address that the new platform does have those quizzes for you to identify both your leadership style and communication style, but there have been changes to some of the questions and to the scoring of it. So the prior program may have different analytical numbers or numbers attached to what you chose, and now there will be new numbers. Therefore, of course, it's encouraged to retake it on the new platform and not rely on the old.
Thank you for the clarification, Dr. Susan Wineta. I saw Asmina Gulani raise her hand.
Yes. So I think I missed a little bit the level 4. It says there is a elective projects and then there are other projects. So we have to do each and every project, or selective like three or 2, or there's a podcast, there's a blog. So we have to do everything.
Right. Thank you for that question, Asmina. So as I stated earlier in the presentation, with the electives, it now actually highlights at the top of the screen how many electives you are required to complete for each level. That number hasn't changed. So if you're on level 3, you have 2 electives. For levels 4 and 5, you have 1 elective each. And then, of course, you are required to complete the assigned project, because we know that there's a required project for every level as well.
So how many are assigned, like any number? Any number of assigned projects?
So the assigned projects, again, this is only electives. You will only see electives in your levels 3, 4, and 5. Levels 1 and 2, you have to complete all of the projects. So for level 3, you have to do 1 required, 2 electives. So that's 3 speeches in total. For level 4, 1 required, 1 elective, and same for level 5, 1 required, 1 elective.
So if we complete 2 in level 4 and 2 in level 5, then our whole project is done?
No, you have to complete the required project and one or more electives. So even if you were to do all of the electives in your level 4, but if you have not done the required project, you still cannot mark that level as completed.
Right, like 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 levels, right?
That's correct. You must do the required project and the required number of electives.
Thank you.
Great question.
Thank you, Asmina. Dennis Lott, you are free to fire away your question.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the presentation. My question regarding the evaluation process. I didn't quite understand, because before we did use the paper, but now you're saying that we can put it in the system, the name of the evaluator. Is that to say the person that is evaluating us is going to be on the agenda, and from that, then we fill in the form?
Okay, so great question. And a lot of this has to do with the culture of the club. So I'll use my home club, where we do not use the free toast host. We just assign persons manually. Now, let's say as the general evaluator, I have assigned the evaluators for this evening. The speakers then have the option to log into Pathways, because they now know who's evaluating them. So they can, so if I know I'm speaking this evening and Susan is evaluating me, I can go in, pull up my evaluation form, type in my speech title, type in Susan's name, and send that to her. And she gets the email to say, Linda Clarke has requested an evaluation from you. And then Susan can complete that evaluation form online and send me back my feedback without me having to download and print off the projects and having to write it out. All of these things can actually be done while the meeting is in progress.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dennis. We don't have any questions waiting as of now, but we have a couple of comments in the chat box. Well done. I like the new platform, even though it took a little time to get familiar with it. We all agree the new Basecamp is very, very user-friendly, and we are able to navigate with no issues. Any more questions for our panelist? She's waiting to answer. We know our VPE, she's always full of energy. So any question, she's the one to answer in the Basecamp.
Hey, are we all knowledgeable, all ready to empower our members, our clubs, to see those pathways? Oh, Toastmaster Marika Adams.
Toastmaster America, please fire away.
Oh, well, that was supposed to be an applause for yes, we all think we know what we're doing. We'll find out whenever we do it, try to do it, and it doesn't work, and then we'll scratch our heads and we'll reach out to you, Linda, or to the Pathways team.
Yes,
Yeah,
still attached to the Pathways team. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you, Marika. I totally agree with that. Only when we do it, we get our doubts, and that's when we can approach anyone. But that was a great overview of all the Basecamp, what includes, and more useful information as a Basecamp manager as well. Now, I invite our evaluator, Distinguished Toastmaster Alex McRae, to provide his evaluations on our panelists for tonight.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Madam Moderator, dignitaries, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, and our eloquent speaker, Linda Clarke, DTM. Good day. The purpose of the speech is for the member to practice delivering an informative speech and running a well-organized question and answer session. Audience, distinguished Toastmaster Clarke, did she meet the requirements of the speech? Hands raising. There you go, Linda. You don't need me to tell you. Oops. Well, these are my information here. Okay. The speech was informative, and you kept the audience attention with interesting, well-constructed content slides and explaining each slide, making it easily understood. Audience, did you notice how the speaker used tone, speed, and volume to keep you engaged? You got colors, she exploded. I like the question and answer section, how it was handled. It was timely and thorough. A few nuggets for your next speech, Linda. Increase the size of the slide so it is easily seen. We were struggling. We heard your explanation clearly, but the visual, we had a little difficulty there. So that's something you might want to pay attention to. I can tell you were using gestures. However, they were kind of out of sight. Hey, we like to see the whole body come up and the gestures and the speech flowing together so that it's easily understood. So you might want to adjust your camera next time to facilitate that. Toastmaster Clarke, DTM, you met the requirement of the speech as you inform and educate the audience and how to navigate Pathway, particularly Basecamp. We are looking forward to your next speech. Madam Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Evaluator, for that comprehensive evaluation on our panelists. I would like to thank all the people who have shared their views on chat. Lorraine, Wanda, Geraldine, Marique have all written. It was an excellent session. Thank you so much to our panelists and our Madam VP for this great session, which has been so beneficial to all. With that note, I pass the virtual lectern to our presiding officer to close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. And as timer, everyone qualified. So we loved that, kept our meeting running smoothly. We also want to thank our panelists and our evaluator. We come to Toastmasters for that immediate feedback. Even in a workshop, we were able to have a well-executed meeting that went towards an educational goal with an evaluation, just to see the full circle on how our educational program and everyone benefits. We want to invite any of our guests new to Sunrise that maybe want to share some words. What did you think of our meeting? Other than all the beautiful stuff you've written in the chat, anyone want to vocalize that love? We are here. Marika Adams, Toastmaster Marika Adams, please.
Thank you, Susan. I just want to thank Linda for presenting this on a Zoom format where so many of us could hear, even if we aren't geographically nearby. I love in-person meetings, but the Zoom meetings have a role, and this is a great example of it. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Toastmaster Marika, for your words of encouragement. We do have an amazing club here where we meet for 50 minutes, jam-packed with fun and education. Any other comments or words of encouragement? We got 1 more minute.
DTM Vanilla, if I may.
Yes, please. Distinguished Toastmaster Ernesto, Division I Director. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Thoroughly enjoyed this entire experience. Kudos to DTM Clarke. I was so engaged and I loved the energy and the passion that went along with the content that she was providing. I thoroughly enjoyed this. This is amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Distinguished Toastmaster Ernesto. And I saw Toastmaster Mary. Please share.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, everyone. Yeah.
Hello.
I've come from the bilingual Toastmasters to Grand Toronto. I got invitation and I was just curious. Even there, I'm also new, so I'm happy to know what's going on. Really, I like this. I like this forum also because it is online, and then and then it's 12:01 like break time for those who are working. So eventually, one might be able to fit in. And then, of course, I enjoyed the lecture. It gives me a very broad perspective of what it all entails. I can see it's a lot of work. I don't know if I have the capacity. Thank you.
You definitely do.
If I have your link, if I have your invitation, if you send me your invitation, I will join as often as I can. Thank you.
You are definitely welcome back. And we also pride ourselves that we end on time. So at 12:55, I now call this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.